So, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Demand Generation. Every single month, we're going to be showing up, usually now on the first Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. because it means our lovely friends in the States can join us, or at least some of them can, and discussing all the things that you guys need to know in order to drive more leads, sales, opportunities, market your businesses better to your consumers, customers, and often on here, we're talking a lot about B2B. So this month, we are going to be dialing into, well, something that's going on in the world of marketing quite well right now, which actually I didn't fully understand. And Andrew's already set me straight on email marketing. So email is changing. It has been a platform that we have relied on traditionally at Stree actually very heavily, and over the years we've transitioned more to actual social platforms nowadays. But Yahoo and Google have made some very strict regulation updates recently, which actually I have found out last week after planning this whole event around it, that actually it only affects B2C, not B2B. So that was a great piece of news to my ears. And Andrew's going to explain a little bit more. Well, it may affect a little
There are some nuances.
Yeah. But mainly B2C. And I've had some great questions in from you. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Katie Stree. I am the founder of Stree Agency. We are a marketing-led lead gen agency that solves the sales problem through developing content, events, mainly for tech and agency businesses that we work with. Up next, just because I've known him the longest, so he gets to go next, is the lovely Andrew Nicholson. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I will indeed. So I am the founder and CEO of a company called Coolia. Now, Coolia, we've got a couple of strands, but the reason I'm being brought on today is because we are, in essence, an email marketing automation platform. So we're at the kind of the cold face of everything that's been going on with Google, all the updates, and we've got the technical knowledge and actually the non-technical knowledge as well to be able to support. So that's Katie's kindly invited me on to talk about this update and give as much advice as we can.
Yes, exactly. Hope there's going to be loads of gems in here, guys. I'm excited to learn with you all today. So next up, I'm going to go in order of how well I know people. So sorry, Steph, you're going to be last. Carol, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about Exclaimer as well?
Of course, yeah. My name's Carol Howley. I'm the CMO at Exclaimer. I've actually been at Exclaimer now. It feels not too long, but it's actually sort of a year and a half. And obviously, within Exclaimer, we're a B2B SaaS marketing platform. We actually do email signatures, which isn't necessarily kind of mass promotional email. It's actually your personal email, and it's the tiny signature at the bottom that you can then use, obviously to have very clear, consistent brand information, but also to look at whether or not you can add in promotional materials. So that's what we do. We're a SaaS company, and very much sort of work using email and obviously other demand generation elements within our marketing mix. And I'm really fortunate to have on my team Steph, who is obviously the next person to introduce, who looks after all of our kind of email CRM lifecycle and tells us all how to do things, what to do, and is just the most amazing expert. So I was so desperate for her to come join us today.
Amazing. Steph, over to you. No intro from me needed.
So hello, I'm Steph. I am the head of CRM on the marketing side of CRM at Exclaimer. And I've been in the role for about a year, same as Carol. I just don't know where the time has gone. It's crazy how fast a year has passed, like a year and a month actually now. And before that, I'd also worked in some other B2B tech companies, and I'd also worked B2C higher education before that. So it was when I was in higher education, B2C, that I kind of fell in love with email marketing. I was also doing events at the same time, but I guess I took more of a kind of path into CRM, into email marketing about 6 years ago. So 6 years of getting to know and love email marketing, and hopefully I can share some good stuff with you today.
I am super excited. I feel like I have like the kings and queens of email marketing by my side today. And hopefully I've got a few gems to share as well. So I'm going to kick off with these new rules and regulations because it's scared a lot of us, including me. And I probably didn't need to be quite as scared as I was. But I'm going to pass this one to you first. And I'm sure, Steph, you also know a lot on this. So we'll come to you next. What is going on? What's happening? What have Yahoo and Google done? And how does it affect us as people that are running email marketing campaigns?
Cool. So I'll pick that one up. So I'm pretty sure that Google deliberately tried to scare everyone, because when they first released the information about the update in October, it was so vague. And I read it and went, just dropped everything. Everybody complained. Everyone went, this is bollocks. Nobody, you've given us nothing here to go on. And then they clarified it in December. So what they've done is they've created a two-tier kind of like approach to email. And the standard tier is, if you just send emails and you're not considered bulk, not much has changed for you. But if you are considered a bulk sender, you move up into that second level, that second tier, at which point you're held up to a far higher set of standards than if you're just a normal standard sender. Now, the next question is, what constitutes a bulk sender? Because this is where all that ambiguity existed. And they have clarified, and it is reassuring, but there are nuances there. So a bulk sender is any domain, not person, not company, any domain that is used to send over 5,000 personal emails. And by personal, they mean ending with @gmail.com or @googlemail.com or @yahoo.com within a 24-hour period of time. So they've now really, really clarified what that is. Now, the higher standards that those bulk senders are held up to, there's three things there. You have to have all your DNS verification in place. So that's your SPF, your sender policy framework, your DKIM, your DMARC. These are all really, really critical things. And if you're in any way involved in email marketing or have been sending out emails in bulk, or even not so much bulk, you should have got this in place anyway. This is not new. This has been best practice for years and years now. If those are new terms to you, then go away and Google them very quickly. It's pretty quick and easy to set up, or it can be anyway. So that's that kind of the first thing that you need to be held up to account for. Now, what other restrictions are there apart from that? You need to have something called one-click unsubscribe. Now, that is different to having an unsubscribe link in your emails. One-click unsubscribe is a little bit of list unsubscribe thing that goes in the header of emails. And you've probably seen this when you receive a promotional email or a marketing email. Right at the very, very top of that email, there'll be a link that says unsubscribe, and it's not part of the email body. So they've said you need to have that if you're a bulk sender. And it's not enough to have a mail to one-click unsubscribe. That's something that existed in the past. Google has said, no, it needs to be at one click. Doesn't take you to a permissions page, doesn't send an email off to somebody to unsubscribe you. It does it there and then and confirms that you've been unsubscribed. You've actually got 2 days to implement an unsubscribe request, which is very generous, actually, because most systems and most platforms do it instantly anyway. So that, again, it's not a biggie. You should be able to talk to your ESP or your marketing automation or your email marketing solution provider and say, have you got this? How do I enable it? Really easy. This is one that's probably got people more concerned. The third thing you need to have is you need to have a less than 3% email, or 0.3%, sorry, spam complaint rate. So that is 3 complaints in 1,000 emails you send. Now, again, bit of ambiguity. What is a spam complaint? That is not Google or Gmail putting you in the spam folder. It's okay. It's not that. It's someone receiving your email and actively going and saying, yeah, this is spam. I don't want this. Now, you should be aiming for considerably lower than 0.3%. 0.1% less is where you should be at. If you're on 0.2%, you should be getting a little bit nervous and taking a long, hard look in the mirror and asking yourself some life questions. If you're above 0.3%, you're in trouble. You're going to get your emails blocked. And at that point, then you potentially have some really serious implications for your business. Because if you are using your domain to send out bulk emails, but you're also using it to send out invoices, for example, or notifications, or anything that could be particularly linked to a subscription, promotion, or notification service, then those could be blocked. Once you are a bulk sender, you are always a bulk sender. It is indelibly inked against your name and your domain. So don't accidentally walk into being a bulk sender. That's something that needs to be a conscious decision. it's not a bad thing to be a bulk sender. Quite a few of us are bulk senders, and that's fine, and you accept that. But don't sleepwalk into that designation by accident. And I've had quite a few conversations with clients recently where they've gone, but we use our main domain to send emails. Like, when you bloody well need to change it, and you need to do it quickly, and stop sending out so many emails right now until you've clarified exactly what it is you're going to do. So those are the main updates. I've gone on a little bit on that. Quite a bit.
Yeah, that's great. Steph, is there anything that Andrew, come on, shame him. Is there anything that Andrew hasn't said?
Yes.
I mean, I can't imagine there isn't.
No, I mean, I can't shame her. I thought I could share though how we responded to it, and I think it was funny, that thing you said about the panic at the beginning, because I remember when the announcement first came out, and I had like 20 people send me screenshots and messages like, panic, what's going on, like inside outside of Exclaimer. And I really understood why, because like you said, that announcement was so vague, so open to interpretation, and that is terrifying. But like, I'm a marketer first, and email marketing is where I found my groove, and I love it. But I saw all of those acronyms that you mentioned, the DMARC, the DKIM, all of that stuff, and I was like, I kind of know what these things are, but I have no idea where I would go to set them up. So I think the best thing to do if you're in that situation is ask your IT team, because I spoke to them and they were like, we're already on it. We're already working on it. And I was like, absolute stars. Like, they've just done it for me. They came to the rescue, and they were already doing it. And I think that's something important to remember. Like, you don't have to do it all yourself. There will be people that can like support you with that in your business. But the other two parts of it were not actually that scary to me. When I realized that we probably would never hit the bulk sender status. We're not in the habit of collecting free email addresses. Like, we try to collect business emails in a B2B company. And we've got a really low spam score already. So I kind of wasn't too worried about those other two things. But I do think that we need to be holding ourselves to the highest standards as email marketers. Like with GDPR, I try and follow those standards outside of the GDPR zone. And with this, I think we're going to try and implement the things that, as though we were a bulk sender, even though we're probably not going to hit those limits. Like, these things are put in place to protect consumers, contacts, and they protect us as well, because we are also consumers and contacts of other brands. So it's always a good thing. And they're things that we feel like they've been put in place to kind of cause problems for marketers and businesses, really, but they're actually they're doing good things and making sure that we're not getting spammed, basically. So
I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I have found in the past couple of weeks, I have had more crappy prospecting spammy emails than I have ever had. And I was like, this is weird, because it's kind of tying in with these rules getting hard. So are people just trying to get stuff in that they don't fully understand, and they're just quickly trying to get there? But those really crappy prospecting emails that you get, which I absolutely hate. And they're like, you haven't responded. Do you please come back to my message? No, I didn't want to hear from you in the first place. I mean, that's what not to do, by the way, in your email marketing or prospecting. Like, just set up journeys, but there's intelligent ways to do this. So right, we've got, well, there's going to be lots of questions around the techie side of things and what's happened, and there's been some questions in already, so I'm going to try and answer a couple of these, but then I'm going to get more into the marketing side of things so that me and Carol actually have something to talk about too, because we're not the techie ones, so we're relying on Steph and Andrew for that. So Peter's just checked in on, I think, something that you guys were both saying here, Andrew and Steph. A bulk sender is, he just wants to check, a bulk sender is any email sender that sends close to 5,000 messages or more to personal Gmail accounts within a 24-hour period.
Yes. So personal Gmail or Google Mail. I know there's some Google Mail addresses still hanging around out there, so they're counted. It is not Google Workspace emails. So if you are using you're using Gmail as your internal infrastructure, but you don't have a gmail.com email address, then at this moment in time, this does not affect you. There are terms and conditions I am going to want to touch on that. There's a couple of examples. You get some companies that collect, they're B2B, absolutely legitimately B2B, but they do LinkedIn events, they meet people sign up in newsletters, and they get Gmail email addresses, personal email addresses, people signing up. So there's a grey area there. And you need to go and check your databases to see exactly what the mix is of your Gmails to your company email addresses. You also get companies that are hybrid, so B2B and B2C. And that's important, because if you're sharing the domain, and even if you're using subdomains, consumer dot marketing.com or business.marketing.com, doesn't matter. If you're using that shared root domain, it's all counted towards your allocation and you will be affected. So that is definitely something else that needs to be considered. So just because you're not sending consumer emails doesn't mean there isn't somebody else in your company that is. So you need to audit and you need to make sure that everybody is accountable and you know the whole picture of what's going on.
There's a whole load of stuff around email safety that has changed. Like, we did a lot of email campaigns and we didn't have to worry. Like, we're a B2B company, so we get GDPR compliant B2B data because there's legitimate interest. We've got some very fantastic platforms that we're able to download them from. So quite simply, what we used to do is download get the data from places like Alf, Apollo, that give us that GDPR compliant data from a B2B perspective, load it into our email system, send the campaigns. Now that is not how it works at all. We have to cleanse that data by putting it through Never Bounce or Mailgun or something that is going to make sure that the email addresses have been verified. Although the platforms say they do that within them, we do have to re-cleanse because we don't want to be showing up that we're sending to lots of people that we can't receive. We also, if you're not doing this is just a tip. I'm going to give you the real basic tips because it's practical for what I do. We have to warm up our email address. So we use a couple of different platforms, one being Warmy, which enables us it sends emails basically. So it sends normal emails. So it doesn't look, it's not just being used for these larger campaign sends. So you're not going to get flagged as spam. Now, one thing that I do break the rules on quite a lot, and Andrew's always telling me off for, is also the kind of language that you're using in your emails. Now, it's really hard for people like Exclaimer and for me, and probably Andrew to a certain extent, but definitely us, to not use words like marketing, but they will pick that up and your email is more likely to get blocked because you're using marketing language in your emails. So I don't know, Steph, Carol, if you've got any kind of tips around that, because Andrew's always going, you can't use these words, and I'm going, well, I have to, because otherwise my bloody email doesn't make sense. So if you've got any, because most people here are going to be marketing in agencies or brand, they're probably going to have the same issues. Have you found any magical ways around that?
Not really. I mean, there are just some things that you just can't do because it will just increase the spam score of your email, basically. And I haven't looked into this for a long time, but there's like a certain barrier that you can't go above, right? So you just have to be careful with them and use them in moderation, like with anything good. And definitely there are things that you don't have to include, like loads of exclamation marks and lots of things about money and like direct information about offers. Like those are much easier to avoid. But I think if you need to use a word like marketing, then it's okay to drop that in, as long as it's kind of sprinkled in there in a sensible place, not overdone.
There's probably a whole list, Andrew, Steph, of words that we shouldn't use. Maybe if you guys have got any documentation, like what I know we've got some, Andrew, but if you could send it, then we're going to create an article off the back of this, just so that people.
I'll make it even easier, Katie. There is a website called Foldly, and if you Google Foldly spam word checker,
brilliant.
Keep it up to date. Just copy and paste it in there, and it will tell you all the spam words that are in there.
Brilliant.
Don't be spam words. They might be promotional words that will get you into the promotions folder as well. So you want to avoid it if you can.
Yeah, fab. So, okay, cool. So that gives us some of the rules and regulations. Now, I want to talk about some of the cool stuff. Now, I found Exclaimer at MadFest last year and was like, wow, this is a really cool bit of technology that kind of approaches email marketing in a slightly different way. Carol, can you talk to us a little bit about Exclaimer and how the kind of different ways of looking at email marketing?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the email marketing that we do, as I said, it isn't necessarily, well, obviously the email marketing that Steph does is the email marketing that everyone else probably does, in the sense of, sending the emails and the promotional, communicative, newsletter, informative emails that you would do, and even, the communications with your prospects and things. But for us, in terms of what Exclaimer does, it actually sits within your personal business email. So it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, your personal business email. So if you're using Microsoft or you're using Google, for example, you'll have a business email address. You'll be sending emails all the time when I think how many emails I send, which is quite obscene during the day. But we estimate that most kind of business people are spending 30% of their day in their email application, sending emails, communicating with customers, with clients, with people, organizing things, and also internal emails. All of those emails have an opportunity to be, you obviously want them to be very compliant, effectively branded, the right sort of details, the right information. And then there's been an increase of issues, especially in like very heavily compliant industries, where not having the right information has led to legal action for some people. But there's that kind of like basic element of the disclaimer and the identity in the email signature. But then there's also the opportunity, if you think of all those emails that are being sent and all of that opportunity to actually promote to people, to market to people, even, across all areas. When you think, sales people obviously want to have meetings booked. They want to be able to get, feedback on their activities, to share the latest webinars. Your CS teams want to get feedback like NPS scores. HR people want to be able to onboard people really, really well internally. So when you think of all the different use cases and the ways that you can actually vary it by who's receiving it, it's almost what we feel, and the way we use it is almost like our kind of extra secret source of the marketing channel. Because if you're running a marketing campaign, you obviously automatically like, well, I need to send my email, I need to do my blog pages, I need to add my advertising, social posts. And then for us, we always roll it into our emails. So that's almost like the next piece of the puzzle, that every opportunity to communicate with a customer gives you that chance to sort of wrap them in the same messaging, with the same branding, pointing to the relevant links, and selling the whole picture really. And we've really found for our marketing strategy is it really bases around those really strong narratives, really good strong brand, and then taking that through in every opportunity. Because otherwise, if you're going out with all different messages and different sources, it's quite confusing for people. So that's sort of how we use it. And as you mentioned, we have recently launched a few features. So we have launched our Salesforce integration. We're looking at other providers, because obviously we all know that Salesforce isn't the only CRM database that you can use, but we went first with Salesforce. So you're able to utilize your integrations to actually create kind of sending lists, create campaigns to kind of make that work with your normal marketing activity as you would do. We also have social feeds. So if you want to bring in your social media releases, really kind of anything you want that you'd want to use for a marketing promotional message to have within that signature block. So we just see it as a really great opportunity. And when you think email is that fantastic communication tool, it's almost like the backbone of every company. It's just making sure you've got that extra arm to your sort of string to your bow almost, I suppose.
Yeah, I love that. I'm very excited about us launching Exclaimer and using, I noticed today, the LinkedIn feed, because obviously, as anyone who probably is on the here but sees me posting on LinkedIn all the time, can I ask a product question? Can you in personal posts as well as your business page posts, or just business page posts?
I'm not completely sure. I think you can we've got it tied up to so I don't think you could have multiple accounts. So I think we've got it obviously tied up to our Exclaimer company-based account. So I think you need to do it to one, sort of link it with one account, I would imagine.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and that will then go across the company. Or if you've got different people, like, can you section it up so that if you've got different teams, they could maybe have different ones? I don't know.
I think, in terms of like different companies, so a lot of big enterprises, for example, will have different business arms or business units or something. So if you've got different business units or different company or entities, then you can have sort of a different experience for each one.
Yeah, I mean, just the thing with Exclaimer that's great for me, one, obviously I'm assuming it also helps us get into the inbox more safely often, because it's the amount of times that we've been like, why are our emails not landing? And it's because there's some, Andrew, you'll remember this, like the way that we've designed the email footer, there's like a HTTPS or something.
It's HTTP but not HTTPS, so
image that just blocks and means that we start going into everyone's junk. So just that on its own is helpful. But also the biggest thing is, when you are a small or a large company, if you've got something you want to promote. So for us, we'll be able to promote these events, we'll be able to promote our latest podcast or whatever it might be, something new that we're doing, a new product launch or a new service that we're launching. You can get that unified across everyone within the business, which is super exciting for me, because it's an underutilized opportunity, and that's what I love to talk about, is innovations in marketing. very excited about that.
No, definitely. And I think the good thing is because it is people that you know, it's not like you're sending the promotion, so you have that deliverability, obviously. And we do see higher click-through rates. I think on average, there's sort of like 6 to 8% click-through rates. And obviously, I think I know that Steph's got way above industry leading rates for hers, but actually the click-through rates on personal emails, because you know who it is, it's someone you're related to, you've got a relationship with that business, it's already really well built up. People do read it, they click through, they see the information. So it's a really great opportunity to get in front of people.
Guys, on that, I know, Andrew, you started to reference it. Can we talk about what we should all be aiming for in terms of those, the kind of stats in terms of open rate, click-through rates? What are the industry averages and what should we be aiming for? Maybe, Steph, you can talk about, what you guys managed to achieve, because I know you're doing some really great things with email marketing.
Okay, so it's important to differentiate here between marketing emails, which to me are bulk emails by nature, that are going out to a large audience, and outreach emails. So outreach emails to me, it's more sales focused, and they are smaller, they're more handpicked, and they are more targeted and invariably more personalized. So these are very, very broad KPIs. You should be aiming for 20% plus open rate for your marketing emails. That's a fairly broad industry average, and different industries perform better and worse. But if you're getting over 20%, good. If you get over 30%, excellent. If you've got links in there, you should be aiming for ideally 2.2 to 2.4% click through. Now, the ironic thing is, the more links you have, the more images you have, the more likely you are to end up in the promotions category. So, we actually strongly advise, if you're sending out emails, try and strip them back as much as possible. And taking that to the nth degree, when you are sending out outreach emails, we strip that all out. It's literally just plain text, boring as bejesus to look at, but it's far more likely to land in the primary inbox. And in terms of the KPIs there, because it's lower yield, lower quantity, more targeted, more personal, we can actually talk about things like open rates of 30 to 40%. You can be talking about response rates of between 5 and 10%. Now, that's not everybody going to be saying, yeah, great, sign me up right away. Some people will be coming back and saying thanks, but no thanks. Some people will be asking questions. But if you're getting up between 5 and 10% response rate, you know that your emails are landing in the primary inbox. And from that, cold outreach, you should be aiming 1 to 2% positive response rates. So those are positive, asking for more information, asking for creds decks, booking in appointments, meetings, that sort of thing. So those are some very, very broad level KPIs that you should be targeting yourself with.
Yeah, that's just to map in before we move over to you, Steph, because I know that you're going to have lots to add on this. It is two very different approaches. Like, we talk about the marketing funnel a lot at Stree, and there's one pulling people into the funnel, there's then those nurture journeys, and last of all there's converting them into a client to buy your product or service or whatever it might be, or customer, depending on if you're B2B or B2C. So when you're starting, and I actually think B2C could do this a lot better, and you do start to see it from these kind of smaller startup brands where you'll get emails that look like they are actually sent to you from the CEO of, I don't know, for me it's Ella & Co, or James and Ella, I think they are now, like the dog food company. So when emails come, and Naked Wines used to do this really well as well in their B2C, this is all we do for our clients. When you send an email from a person to a person, people want to deal with people. They do not want to deal with a faceless marketing team, especially if they don't really know who you are and how you can help them. So those initial emails, we always do, so it looks like it's coming from a person. Hyper personalized, yes, we still might be sending them at scale, but we're using personalization and automation to make it look like and make it feel like, to the person that's receiving, it's a one-to-one email. Like, we don't want to trick people. In marketing, most people probably do know what we're doing, but it just feels so much nicer, and we get something like 10 times better results. So marketing teams spend all this time designing these beautiful emails and then sending them to people that don't want to see these beautiful emails, because it feels really generic and like they're this unhuman kind of approach. So that's just one tip from me, is whether you're B2B or B2C, and I think B2C could start doing a lot better at this. Be brave enough, don't rely on your brand. Almost do the opposite of branding, like don't rely on your brand, start doing things from your people. And I think that could really start to change. There are some brands doing it, and they're really leading the way, and you can see their growth is kind of in line, not just with that, I'm sure there's other things they're doing, but that more human approach is working. Steph, I'm sure you've got some bits to add on this.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk a bit to kind of how our performances at Exclaimer and what we've kind of done to drive that. So, I mean, we're still really building up the email program. There's just me and one other person doing the email marketing. And I've only joined just over a year ago now. So when I joined, I think there were about 30,000 marketing emails going out a month on average. And most of those were from workflows. And there was the odd product announcement or something like that thrown in, newsletters and stuff. And when I joined, we kind of ramped that up really quickly. Not really quickly. Obviously, we did that cautiously because that's the best way to warm things up. But we got up to about 500,000 emails a month by the summer, and then realized that we really needed to pare that down, like really to your point, Katie, about that personalization. We were kind of sending everything to everyone just to kind of see how people responded at the beginning, because we just had no data to back up anything that we wanted to do. And now we're sending about 200,000 per month. And our email program has different welcome flows. It has some newsletters, other triggered journeys that we kind of send, product and feature releases, events and webinars, like that kind of thing. And we do some other campaign specific stuff as part of like a more multi-channel approach. But when we decided we needed to pare it down, that peak number that we got up to of the 500,000, we had to pare it down by adding on those basic layers of personalization first. And the first thing we did was start sending at a good time for the recipient in their time zone, which is not that easy to do in Pardot, unfortunately. And then we started breaking out the content and also the design of the email by the typical personas that we work with at Exclaimer, and we introduced some win-back automations to help re-engage inactive subscribers or kind of previously closed lost deals. And if they didn't re-engage, we kind of started to let them go, because I think you do need to do that sometimes. And I feel like those are some of the pretty standard things that we should be doing in email marketing in any business, and in light of the recent changes or otherwise, because these things are really good for your email performance. And for us, including those in our email strategy means that I think I'm actually going to share the numbers. Like I think we were at 15% open rate when I started. We've just hit 31 in January, so I'm very pleased with that over a year. And I think we were at 4% for our open rates, and we've just hit 16. So like really good trending for our click rate. Sorry, that's the click to open, not the click rate. So I think like it just shows that if you do those things, like it really can drive great performance. And because we've done that, we're now able to actually use those communications to start driving revenue for the business. But we had to build up that trust first. And that's, how we've done that.
So what do you guys, when you're, I mean, I guess, again, there's different approaches dependent on whether it's cold data, warm data, but let's talk about it being cold, where you've got, you're loading, from a B2B perspective, you're loading the data in, or you've captured that data that people have signed up to a report or an event or whatever it might be. How often should we be emailing them, in your opinion?
So firstly, it's not just about email with that cadence. I'm sure you know, Katie. So the way we do it when we're sending out a cold campaign, it will be roughly 7 touch points. So it will be firstly a LinkedIn view, followed by an initial introductory email, followed by a LinkedIn connection request, followed, if that's not accepted and you don't have a conversation, that's followed on by a bump email. And we space that out normally over the space of a couple of months, and we just keep gently touching base, because you don't want to get too in their faces. Email is great because it's the easiest channel to go, thanks but no thanks, don't want to hear any more. So if it is genuinely not of interest and the value proposition that you're delivering isn't a value proposition to them, they can opt out very, very easily. I think I'm going to move across to the consumer side. And it's a really big question. That's how frequent can you be relevant and interesting and deliver value?
Yeah.
You don't want to piss them off. You don't want to be sending emails every 2 days or constantly, but if every time you go out there and you deliver a little value bomb, boom, then you know what? You're not going to upset them, and what you want with that cadence is you want something that is consistent. You don't want massive peaks and troughs because that's going to affect your deliverability. If you wait 3 months and then send out a massive campaign, then wait 3 months and send out another massive one, you're going to plummet in terms of your open rates, your click-through rates, everything, because the emails are not going to get read. So you're better off kind of dripping consistently throughout that 3-month period.
Yes, Steph, what about you guys? How are you running email?
Yeah, I mean, we've introduced a really good welcome program for our emails. And I think that is really important, whether you're doing it just on email or you've got other channels that you can leverage to do that. Like, that is your first impression that you're making. And in some cases, depending on actually where the data has come from, it might be like the only impression that people have of your company so far. So it depends what else they've done before, but it might literally be the first time you're able to introduce yourself. And it's actually our welcome flow that's driven a lot of our best performance in many ways, because we're able to use it as a place where we can test like what works with new subscribers. And we get quite a high volume of people through there. But yeah, I just feel like it's a really important thing to have so that you can kind of introduce yourself to the problem. You can learn about them, you can pitch your value proposition, you can give the recipient just a good vibe about your business and how it would be to work with you. And then you can start using stuff like dynamic content in those flows, and so you can personalize it and again learn more from what's being kind of clicked on or whatever engaged with. And then we do that in kind of tandem with our content team, and they support us in refining the flow, and we do that regularly so that we're always optimizing it and making sure we're giving people the best stuff at the beginning. And that is, I think, 5 emails over the course of about 3 weeks. So it's like a decent number of emails. And then after that, I think our average is probably around an email a fortnight on average. So obviously there are periods where we're sending slightly more, but we try not to send too many, because exactly as you said, Andrew, like how often can we be actually providing value? And that's like our golden rule with sending email as an exclaimer. When we look at the email, is this going to land in someone's inbox and they're going to be like, this has added something to my day? Like, if it doesn't, then we're not going to send it, basically. So that's why our cadence is a little bit lower.
Yeah, and that is the rule that we have to stick by, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to pick up on something else you said there, Steph, which was cropping that audience, and that is going to be so important with these Google updates. Is if someone's not engaged or opened an email or been to your website or done anything in 6 months, just accept it. When I started in this game, it was like, how many subscribers can we get? How many users? How many? And it's a fool's errand, because it's a vanity metric, and it doesn't translate into engagement. And if you are sending emails out to people and they're not reading them, and then 6 months down the line they open it and go, I have no idea who these guys are.
Yeah,
they're going to spam you. It's that simple. So you've got to be really careful about that.
Yeah.
What else? There's something else you picked up, and I'm going to come back to it. But there's lots of tools and tricks in there to make sure. Oh, that was it. Permission centers. So, Steph, in that introductory email, do you ask the kind of the data subjects to self-select their interests?
Not at the moment, but it's something that we're currently building, because like there is so much value in that. And I think that this idea of letting people unsubscribe really easily is very important. And I want to make it as easy as possible, because obviously making that difficult can leave like a really sour taste in somebody's mouth. But I would also like to be able to serve up an option for them to say, well, actually, it's only these repetitive webinar emails that I don't want to receive anymore. So if I can have an option just to opt out of them, and that will become part of the first. So we send a tailored email depending on where a person's come from to every new contact that's created. And that preference center will be the first thing that we serve people in the future, because we really want to just give them the opportunity to say, well, actually, I'm only interested in this part of what you do, so send me that and nothing else. But it's one of the things on a big list that we're doing to develop our email program over time. So hopefully that is coming this quarter.
That's good to hear. I mean, it's we sit here, we're marketers and we're salespeople, and we go, yeah, this is a value bomb. Let's chuck this at somebody. But value is interpreted differently by each individual. So what might be incredibly valuable to Katie, Carol just doesn't care about. So giving those users the option to say, okay, this is what I want to know about, that really helps. And you have to respect that as well, because you're always going to have somebody at the top of the tree go, I need you to send out this email to everybody about this subject. And you've got to be able to push back and go, well, actually, they didn't want to hear about that. Sorry. And if we send it, we're going to get in trouble.
And I think Steph does an amazing job. Like, our team get very excited by all the amazing work they're doing and come full of ideas of emails and things they want to send. And Steph does an incredible job of telling them how wonderful it is, but also we really need to add value, and let's just filter it down to a nice little compact thing that adds value to people's day. So I think it's a really hard job that email marketers have to kind of make sure they have that filter of, like, actually, is it relevant, and should we send it, or how often should we send it, or how do we package it up in a really relevant way? And so I think that's such a skill.
Yeah, I think that's the key with any marketing tactic, right, Carol? It's, how do we make sure it's of value? And there's so many. We probably could literally riff about email, just this one channel all day, but there are so many things that you need to think of, like a really compelling title for your email so that people want to click through, and often the first line as well. Actually, next week we've got two fantastic opportunities to create some really compelling content. And in fact, me and Emma, who is behind the scenes here, we were talking about this earlier, about how we're going to have some fun and use Valentine's Day next week on Wednesday. I'm expecting not to be able to get out of my front door, but with all the cards that I'm going to receive. But how we're going to play, how can we make it fun? Because that's the other thing. Yes, give value, but also make it fun. And I think Exclaimer, you guys are fantastic at doing that, dialing into current topics. What's going on in the world right now? We see that in our, hopefully you guys saw the Taylor Swift meme, which obviously she's been, in the press a lot over the last year, winning awards and various other things. So play into current things that are on people's agenda anyway. Play into those big events. Get yourself noticed. You may receive this email next week from me. So surprise, surprise. But we're going to do, and this is actually stolen from Nicole, who used to work for us, who did a really good campaign. But we're going to do a line, something like, God, I can't remember what we said now, but it was like, I heard you might have broken up with, or I heard you might be looking for a new partner this Valentine's Day. Marketing partner. Like, have fun with it, guys. Like, make it fun. If I see you all sending out emails next week stealing my idea, I'm gonna have fun with it. Like, play into things that are happening. There's also next week Pancake Day, like flipping great. I don't know, there's all sorts of fun things that you can do in your, that applies to your social content as well. Also, using email as a channel, but tying it in. I love what Andrew and myself are doing very much from a B2B perspective now, are utilizing both channels, and trying to map and watch the behaviors of our prospects on both channels, so we can using the CRMs that we have in place and the marketing automation, email and social tools, we can marry that together to actually see where and when they're engaging and take a multi-channel approach. So look, the world is changing. AI is here to stay. There are some fantastic things that you can do, and also play around with ChatGPT to craft your emails. I think let's be honest, I do use ChatGPT to help me create content. Do you guys use ChatGPT or some kind of AI tool?
We've got Jasper in-house, so we've got Jasper, which means we can teach it our tone of voice and everything. I did notice the team were like, "Oh, we've taught it your tone of voice," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's terrifying."
Platform.
Yeah, it's a tool, Jasper.ai. It's amazing, actually.
So, I need to go and check that out. So don't be afraid. Don't think, oh gosh, I can't use AI because it's cheating. Absolutely.
No, it's definitely not cheating. I use it for everything.
Make sure that you do use it, because if you don't master AI, it will master you. And we use it to create content all the time. It's only as good as what you put in. So the way I kind of like to think about it is like a gun. Like, the quality of the questions that you ask it and how you direct it will be the quality that you get out. And if it can start to dial into things like your tone of voice, that's going to be great. I'm going to go and check out Jasper in a minute. We just had a demo recently from Microsoft for Copilot, because I randomly bumped into one of the guys on the train that literally only launched like 2 weeks ago, which will track all of you, if you've got Outlook, Teams, everything. It will literally track everything, tone of voice, and do anything and everything. It will make presentations off the back of calls. It will send you summary emails. Like, guys, this is here. It's here to stay, and it's going to help you massively when you're thinking about how you craft your emails and you make them better. But it's only as good as the kind of stuff that you put in. There's been so many questions. Interesting one. Like, what can we do to improve click-through?
Okay. So firstly, keep very focused on what you want the reader to do. If you've got 5 or 6 different call to actions, it gets convoluted and confused. So ideally, every email should have one call to action, one kind of behavior that you want them to follow up with. And whether that's book a call or download this thing or go to this article, try and really concentrate it. There's a lot of psychology, behavioral economics behind how to get people to click. Look at things like color psychology, wording, halo effect. There's social influence. There's just so much there. So we could have an entire webinar just on how to get people to click a bloody button. Steph, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, completely agree with a single call to action. Like, that's the most important thing, and the why they should do that thing. So not just like book this event, but like why, what's it going to add for that person? Like, what is clicking through going to actually give you more than just reading this email? So it's good to like leave a little bit out of the email so that there's still a reason for them to kind of cross that line. And I love all that psychology stuff. And I have to say, when I was in B2C, we tried using GIF buttons and they absolutely smashed it. I don't know why. I think it was like it was a Gen Z type audience. So that might have been why. It was something new at the time. This was about 10 years ago. So
yeah, make it easy. Like, we always now, we'll put little things into the email campaigns when we're sending out emails about the podcast, just to make it easier for people to click. Whereas usually we used to put a link, but showing up in a fun, like I say, you've got to make it fun. You've got to use, like you said, the psychology of language is so important. Like, there's little things that I used to harp onto the team about, like, don't use the word but, use the word however. Always have make the language positive. Use language that is emotive, that's going to pull on your readers' heartstrings. Like, there's so much that you need to do in order to get good engagement, good click-throughs. But start, for me, especially in the B2B world, and the same in B2C, really, start with the value or make it funny. Talk like you're talking to a friend. Don't start to write in a way that it sounds too businessy or robotic. Like, you want to talk like, whenever I read something back, I'm like, no, it's still too businessy. Like, it's got to be more like, just think you're chatting to your friend down the pub, or I don't know, in the cocktail bar if it was me. So talk like you're talking to your friend and make it chatty, fun. People want to read content that is fun and brings them to life. Not everyone will want that. Sometimes we're emailing CTOs, etc. I'm not saying that all CTOs are more boring, but think of your audience, understand their behaviors, understand. There's so many great tools out there where you can actually look at the kind of psychology of your audience, like what kind of person are they? Are there certain parts, certainly when it gets to B2B or and B2C, when you're looking at people, if your audience are 18 to 25-year-old beauty product users, they're going to want to be spoken to and have got different preferences on language than male CTOs who are in their 50s and 60s. So think about your audience, understand generally their profile, and start to talk to them in a way that's going to help them want to engage with you more, because people want to be spoken to like they speak. So speak in a way that they speak, if that makes sense. That's a kind of tip for me. I'm just going to scan through the questions. Do you think, given the updates, our budget and resources and the balance between acquisition and retention needs to shift? Therefore, should email therefore mainly be used as a re-engagement tool rather than an acquisition tool? Thoughts?
I'll put my neck on the line there and say, no, it should absolutely be used for acquisition and retention. It's a complete no-brainer. However, in the B2C world in particular, you need to make sure, it's double opt-in. You're not going out and buying B2C data. It's double opt-in. You give them the options to select what they want to hear about. So the example you just gave there with Perla, if somebody's signing up because they're interested in real life simulations, aka The Sims, don't then next week start sending them first party shooting games, because that's just disrespecting what they've told you they want to hear about, and you're going to get flagged as spammy. So it's respecting their choices as well as asking them for their choices. And I think so long as you do that, it's absolutely fine.
Fab. Avni's just asked a question that I can answer. Could you please share some tools that you use to analyze your audience's personality? So we use a great platform for this that plugs into LinkedIn called Crystal Knows, not Knows, but KNOWS. And I don't know if it can do it at scale, but we do it on an individual basis. But I think you can probably there is probably ways, and I haven't logged in myself for ages, the team use it all the time. But there probably are ways that you can look at audiences in general. But Crystal Knows, when you're doing very bespoke ABM outreach, which we do as well as all of the kind of mass stuff that we do, gives you really deep insights and will even compare you to them. And it will tell you how to write a sales email to them, how to market to them, how to talk to them on a call if you want them to based on the action that you want them to take. So it's really, really clever. There's so, honestly, guys, there are so many tools out there. It gets a bit daunting. But I would say, go and investigate them. I'm certainly going to look at Jasper, because that is going to, I was talking about wanting that on the podcast with someone the other day. So there we go. I've taken loads of value from this. Now, one thing to do in your email marketing.
I've got one, which is don't buy data. That's my golden rule.
Great. Yeah, great. Very good. I like
it. I guess you kind of want to lean in a conversation that we've been having, just to as Steph said, I think it's really important to look at those regulations and just do the best things for the customer rather than necessarily what you can get away with or what's easy or what you should be doing. I think, we have a really strong kind of customer first and customer centric growth that we feel is really important to us to keep at heart, that, you're doing the right things, the best things, and then, you will be offering the value and that content can really sing. So I think that's the main thing for me.
I'm going to just add a very quick list of tools. So the first thing everybody needs to do this today is run Postmaster Tools, Google Postmaster Tools, because we're talking about this got to be less than 0.3%, got to be less than 0.2%. You won't know what score you're getting, what complaint rate you're getting until you have a feedback loop. It's a free tool. Set it up now, okay? And then send emails and see what kind of complaint rates you're getting. Olivia was asking about spam scores. So there's lots of different spam scores. Check out mail-tester.com. Send an email to them and it'll give you a holistic 100% 10 out of 10 spam score rating, hopefully, if it's a good email. Look at MX Super Tools to check your SPF, your DKIM, your DMARC, because somebody had a question about authentication. You're not authenticated, so either your DKIM or your SPF isn't working. If you're sending mass emails, you have an IP address sending those emails. Check out your sender score, senderscore.org. Can I think of anything else, Katie?
That'll do. I'm going to keep you quiet, Andrew. I mean, as you can tell, guys, Andrew is very, very enthusiastic about this subject. So I will garner any additional information from him. We are going to write this up. So the only other thing I was going to say, apart from say a big thank you to my lovely guests, is do go and subscribe to the Stree channel. Please, if you don't already, follow all of us, connect with us. I post about all this kind of stuff a lot. So does Exclaimer, so does Andrew. So it's well worth connecting with all of us on LinkedIn, and then click the little bell that means that you get notified when our post goes live. Do the same for Stree. Next month, 3 subjects that I'm thinking about talking about on here. One is events. We see some of the best results that we possibly get from virtual and in-person events. So do you want to hear about, from a lead gen marketing perspective, events? Do you want to hear about social media, and very specifically LinkedIn and your kind of LinkedIn strategies, or something else? So if you have time, and you can go online when this closes, it'll still be, you can still comment in the comments. Please do say, do you want LinkedIn and social as the subject for next month, or events as the topic and strategy for next month? So that's it. All it leaves me to do is to give everyone a big round of applause. Thank you, guys. I learned loads. I'm going to go and, it is called Jasper, isn't it? I am going to go and check out Jasper. And a few other platforms. Andrew, you look after my email for me, so I'm safe there. Otherwise, everyone have a great day, and thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.